Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Julie's Jewels, the road to Rio Del Lago. How you doing, Julie?
I'm doing great, Mike. How are you?
Good. I'm doing great. So we talked last time about the road to Rio, which is a multi-part series talking about more in depth of the race course. We have the upcoming race briefing, which we get into a lot of logistics for parking when it show up, and what day is that again?
That's going to be on Tuesday, October 22nd at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. Uh, the link is on our Rio100mile.com. On there, you can get that. We'll also be sending out an e-blast to everybody that is currently registered for the race with this Zoom link as well. And we'll have some updates on our Instagram, NorCal Ultras Instagram, as we get closer to the briefing. If you can't make the briefing, we are going to record it, and that recording will be available 72 hours after the briefing.
And if you in past years, if you've not seen those, they're really helpful just for like crew and spectators, where you can go, parking passes. There's a lot of details, but this Road to Rio is specifically about the runner and the course. So last time, you can find the previous video where we talked about the start up to mile 44, which is the the American River Overlook, or the Auburn Dam Overlook, or ADO we call it. So 0 to 44. Now you got to 44. You see your people. Your body's getting into it. Now we're going from 44 to the finish line tonight.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're leaving ADO. What's going on?
Yeah, so we're heading to No Hands Bridge, the iconic No Hands, and this section is really actually pretty runnable. It's like a gradual descent, albeit a few little pitches, a few little undulating hills there.
Pretty nice, yeah.
Yeah, but pretty smooth. Nothing super technical. And you also have the opportunity to leave the overlook with a pacer at this point. So if you've got a pacer, use he or she for basically your safety, but also to, keep you moving efficiently and effectively to No Hands Bridge. So that's about a 4-mile stretch from Overlook to No Hands Bridge. And yeah, when you get to No Hands Bridge, there is no crew access at No Hands. So you'll want to make sure that your crews do not go there. You go there, you'll get disqualified. No questions asked about that. So we've got everything you need down there at the bridge by MJ and her team. So you'll be well taken care of. So that gets us to No Hands, which is mile 49. So basically 50 miles into the course here. So halfway in.
Yeah, and if this is your first 100-miler, it's nice to pick up a pacer early, just because it's a long day and you got a lot on your mind, and they're kind of remind you about nutrition and eating and drinking and also taking pictures. I mean, a lot you can do, but I've done it with an early pacer. I've done it without an early pacer. And when people leave, you're always like, oh, I wish I had a pacer.
Yeah.
And I wish I had somebody. So it's always nice to try to find somebody early. If you don't get one there, where's the next spot you can get?
The next spot is going to be the Cool Fire Station. Okay. So it's a little bit of a haul here. So Mike is correct. If you have the opportunity and the privilege to get a pacer, you'll thank us later for that.
Okay. Yeah. So we're down to No Hands, and we're leaving No Hands.
Yeah. So once we leave No Hands, we're going to cross Highway 49 at the lower quarry. There'll be CHP there to get you across, listen to any commands that the officer is giving. To get you safely across there, and then we're on the quarry road.
That's a nice wide, kind of like a gravel roadway for a mile and a quarter until you get to where it starts to climb again.
Yeah, I think the whole quarry in itself, I'm an ish person. If you listen to the last video, is about 5 miles to the end of Quarry Road. But there's some really great sections that you can just get in a jogging, as my friend Angie calls it, just a plopping rhythm, and make some time on this. Technicality is pretty low here. Yeah.
And there's a few climbs but it's drivable. That's why the rangers drive it. So it's really a nice flat gravel road.
Yeah. Back up the bus. Once you leave No Hands and are getting ready to cross the highway and go to the quarry, you'll want to make sure that you stock up at MJ's aid station with 2, maybe even 3 bottles at this point, even if it's cool and crisp out, because you've got about a 10-mile stretch until the next aid station at Auburn Lake Trails. So, grab some food and a baggie to go, and make sure you've got plenty of fluid. Pacers, make sure you're taking care of yourselves too, for this 10-mile stretch here.
And it's just for the record, it's a little, it's 10 and change.
Yeah.
If you're in, this is not a pace.
Ish.
If you're in, it's like 10.2, 10.18. So, you know, you're gonna feel like it's 30 miles because it's going to get dark when you're out there. If you're by yourself, if I was running it, it'd be raining. So hopefully it's not.
But Mike's not running this year,
So-
so it's not going to be raining
But
this year.
if it's raining and you're out there by yourself, it's lonely and it's dark and it's wet and it's cold and it feels like 30 miles. So be ready for that section. Mentally have your head in order and ready for it.
Yeah, 10.18 miles to be exact.
Yeah.
So yeah, you are
Not a
correct.
place
So
for
that's
issues.
absolutely. That's how mentally I like to operate that way. But okay, so we're at the end of the quarry road.
Mhm.
What happens after the end of the quarry road?
Well, it splits off, right? So you go, that's where you take the turn, you make a right, and it starts going up towards Main Barb. You get on to the Waterfall Trail, which I learned, the American River Trail, also called the Waterfall Trail. I didn't know that. You head out all the way out to the far end of the course.
Yeah, and then from this point, I'd say, you know, again, it's runnable in a lot of sections, but again, it's nighttime. You're going to be tired. It's dark, grumpy, grouchy, and but this is a great section to have your pacer do a 5 minutes of effort and then 1 minute recovery, and just kind of repeat that. If you can kind of employ some of these tactics of 5 minutes on, 1 minute off, and keep that going, it's going to chip away at that time to get to ALT. So I always say here, try not to fall into like the zombie walk if possible. So again, playing these strategies, hooking up with somebody on the trail.
Yeah, it's important because I found this is where you can slow down. You don't even realize it. If you're by yourself, your family's like, he was doing so well, and then like you're just off track, and it's like you can really slow down to nothing here. So really, it's a good chance to kind of keep on your pace, and your nutrition and your mind, because you can really slow down here and lose a lot of time.
Yeah. Have some strategies for this section, both mentally and physically, and yes, use your pacer to help employ some of these.
Yeah. Okay. So you get to the ALT, and then you'll start hearing cowbells in the dark. You hear people hollering, and all of a sudden you drop down, and then there's the aid station.
Yeah. So ALT, Auburn Lake Trails, is the place on the course where we tend to incur the most drops. So I always encourage, just get in that aid station. As you're approaching that aid station, as you're dropping into the aid station, tell your pacer or tell yourself what you need to take from the hydration and the nutrition table, and have a plan, and keep it to like 60 seconds in that aid station, and then get out of there. The faster you can get out of there, getting your goods that you need, you're going to be well on your way, and won't even contemplate looking at people that are sitting in a chair or thinking about dropping at this point. So yeah, I mean, what are we, exactly 59.35. So we're at 60 miles. This is this is really a mental gut check, mental place where people just tend to tune out. And this is where you really need to tune in.
Yeah, because it was dark. It could have been raining. Again, I always put like an extra shirt in every bag, because if it is raining, you're cold. It's nice to get a change of clothes. But then you can leave there, and then you're heading back to Auburn, which feels really nice.
Yeah,
it feels positive, and like you just feel mentally like, I'm going back to Auburn, and then you're kind of back. You're going back to the finish line. It feels like good when you go in that direction.
Yeah, I think once, and you can have a drop bag at Auburn Lake Trails there. But once, like Mike said, once you leave that and you're headed to Auburn to cool, your mindset is going to change dramatically for the better. Yep. And so you really just need to kind of just, know that that's going to be a tough and tricky section for everybody, whether you're front, middle, or back, and just, get in and get out and make your way towards cool. But when we're leaving Auburn Lake Trails, though, we will encounter infamous Goat Hill, right?
Yeah, people talk about that as one of the other. Last show we talked about the meat grinder, and Goat Hill is another one of those ones that people talk about. And people make it sound like it's 5,000 feet up. over 20 miles, but it's really not.
It's
It's not that bad.
no, I don't even think it's a mile.
No,
I feel like it's like just
it's
under a mile,
yeah.
right?
It's
Like
a good break from running.
yeah. And on these, ascents, this is a great time to just take in your nutrition. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to be walking, hiking up this hill. You might as
Mm-hmm.
well get that bottle in your hand or get that flask and suck down that gel
Yeah.
and get that sandwich in while you're making this ascent to the top of the hill.
Yeah.
And then you get to the top of Goat Hill, and then
It's just nice. It's just kind of
it's nice
windy, single track. The Window Roby Trail, which is one of my favorites in Auburn. Beautiful windy trail, kind of up on the ridge, so you see it. It'd be dark, but it's nice.
Yeah, and this is a section, little technical here. Just trail has overgrown a little bit, a little ruttedness, but you know, trust your feet, trust your body.
Mm-hmm.
Use your pacer if you have one here to help kind of navigate you through here. But again, try to move 1 minute on, 1 minute off, kind of through
Mm-hmm.
here. So you'll get to, we're heading towards Upper 49 to cross the highway again. And once you've hit that point, you really know you're almost on the home stretch.
Yeah, and so again, remind us about poles, because a lot of races allow poles, some don't. This is very narrow, right? So no poles allowed.
No poles allowed. We don't feel like it's necessary, and
Yeah.
for safety reasons too. No poles allowed.
It's really narrow, and it's hard to.
It is.
Some of the things are rutted. It's hard to navigate, and yeah.
Yeah.
So okay.
So
So you make it to the 49, cross 49. You make a left, go up towards Cool. That's a fun one because it's like second to ADO. It's a big aid station with a lot of cars, a lot of people. People can, any family can be there. Like your grandparents, RVs can pull in there. It's like space, really spacious.
Yeah. The Cool fire station again. You can have a pacer change here. Crew, get some other food or nutrition that you need. And once you get in and out of this aid station, you are really on the home stretch at this point. So, just get in and get out, from Cool. So
yeah, and that's a good one where you can pick up a pacer. If you didn't have one, you can pick up a pacer at that point.
Or you can swap one out. Yeah, kind of thing. But
if your last one wasn't that good, maybe you want to switch it out. Trade it in, upgrade. So you're leaving Cool, and then you're headed back towards the roller coaster and then down towards No Hands, right?
Yeah, and this is a really great moving section as well. We know quads. We've been there. Like quads just hurt. Like period, end of story. There's nothing you can do to make sure that your quads don't hurt as much. But I have news for you. Just start running, jogging, whatever. Just let it go. Let gravity just take you, and don't stop. The minute you stop, they will hurt more. But if you can just get in a rhythm down this roller coaster, like it will be night and day from just walking the entire section and doing the zombie walk back to No Hands Bridge. That's where we're headed.
And roller coaster, the upper part is pretty smooth, but the lower part, it's become really rutty over the years. So it's really hard to hammer fast downhill. If you're not an elite runner, you're going to be like slowly dancing through the ruts and rocks. It's pretty technical at the bottom nowadays.
Yeah. So, let the terrain kind of dictate how your feet are moving, but wherever you have some smoother ground, really try to take advantage of that. And on these little rocky, ins and outs, that's where you might have to just kind of plop or hike a little bit. But again, keep your rhythm moving here. You will get to No Hands in record time if you just keep moving. We're not saying, run your fastest splits here, but you just keep moving rather than walking the entire stretch, you're going to be in good shape.
And No Hands, no crew. So if you have a pacer, they can take pictures, but no crew. It's also cool. You come back and it's night. They have it lit up. It's really beautiful. So it's a good spot for your pacer to take a picture because it's super cool. Super nice there.
Yeah. So we're leaving No Hands at mileage check of, oh my gosh, 72.6.
Yeah.
Is No Hands. So once you leave No Hands Bridge, you got 4 miles back to the overlook.
Yeah.
It's a gradual ascent. You might feel it, you might not, but I always feel it whether I'm, in a 100-mile race or doing a training run out there. But it's a sneaky little section. But again, this is a great section of the course where 5 minutes on, 1 minute off. 6 minutes on, 1 minute off. Just really just kind of keep moving, keep your nutrition going. And know once you get to the overlook, you are really headed
Yeah,
home.
I think on that 4 mile climb, there are some spots you should run if you can because they're flat.
Yeah.
And then it starts to get a little more incline. And you should, in a 100-mile race, you should try to push a little bit. And there's spots where you can push. You're kind of like, should I walk? Should I hike? If you're going to hike, hike with a purpose. I learned
Yes.
that years ago. Hike fast and hike strong because you can
Yeah.
also lose time by
Yeah.
it's not that much of a climb. You can lose time.
Yeah.
So I just keep up the pressure a little
Yeah.
bit. I
Yeah.
would.
So I'm a better plopper. Mike is a lot taller than I am, and so hiking with intention might be a little bit easier for somebody who has some go-go gadget legs. But I'm short and little, and so what I like to do on those sections is because my hiking with intention is good, but it's not that great, and so I can kind of just plop, just this jog,
Ultra shuffle.
yeah, and so to me, it feels like I actually use less energy to do that than I do trying to really, power hike.
Okay.
So
a lot of strategies, I think,
yeah.
but just know there are spots where you probably should move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can lose time. You get to overlook, and then it's just, you're on. That's it. You're on the way back.
You're retracing your steps of what we came up to the overlook in the first video of. So we're leaving the overlook. So we're at mile 75, right? Yeah.
76. Yeah.
Gosh, chippy a mile. And we're making our way to Rattlesnake Bar. That's about a 9-mile stretch here. You've got a nice 3-mile plus descent down to the bottom of the canyon. The bottom of Cardiac, there is a self-serve water station there. So if you need extra fluid, you should take that there. Definitely always have 2 bottles with you. You never know. And then you've just got some smooth running really all the way to Rattlesnake. It's up and down. It's a little bumpy at times, but again, it's a nice ride, and really, really take advantage of where you can run and where you need to hike.
Yeah, and if you took care of yourself and you ate and you drank and you ate and you drank and you you were conservative but still push. If you have legs at this point, it's really nice because everyone's like laying on the trail, like there's zombies everywhere. If you can move, it really feels nice to be like just cruising down. It's the middle of the night or it's in the mornings. It's really nice. It's a good section.
Yeah, it's a great section, and I always like to say when you're running in the dark, it's like free miles. Like enjoy the dark running. There are what we call the brown horse markers, or that's what I call them. And so if you want from the base of the canyon, Cardiac, that's brown marker 53. And we want to get to 46.5. We're descending, which is Rattlesnake Bar. So every half mile, these markers appear. So you'll see them with your headlamp. And so just chip away every half mile, just count those markers and move forward. So I like that. It just helps me mentally stay engaged.
I think on occasion, I probably don't look at those because I don't want to know, because I might as well go faster. If I see them, like, oh, look away. Like, I don't want to know, because then I feel like it goes faster if I don't know how far I've gone.
Yeah.
But they're there. So either look at them or don't look at them. Whatever works for you.
That's right. Yeah. So Rattlesnake Bar, we get to Rattlesnake and we're at mile 86.02, so just over 86 miles.
And you're gonna have family there again. You're gonna have
crew, pacers. This is the last time to change out a pacer or pick up a pacer if you're going to do that. You've got your drop bags there. Again, you've got your crew here. So you get to 86, like you are making it. Like you soldier on, like even if your stomach is bothering you or you've got some ache or your body hurts, everybody hurts at this point. And so you're not alone in your suffering and misery, and so just know that. But you get to 86, it just
it's a weird number because you're near the end, but there's quite a bit of running to do left. So it's like that point where you don't want to take off the gas, but you still got to move. But it's also feels good because you're like, I'm at 86. That's really nice.
And here's where Mike might do something different, but kind of like start my countdown, because 86 I can kind of wrap my head around, like, oh, I've got like 14. I forget. Right? 14 miles to go at this point. And so in my head, I'm going, okay, that's a half marathon. And I figure in my head the last time I ran a half marathon race or training, and I just kind of plug that in mentally. And that helps to kind of like get me out of that
Mm-hmm.
like overwhelming state, of
Yeah.
being like,
Yeah. Then it's like, I could do that anytime, 14
yeah,
miles. I
yeah,
also would recommend you if you can have some broth or some food because it's long enough that you need, don't let off the nutrition
yeah.
unless you're just sick. But try to have some, we'll have soup at night, right? There's always soup and there's things
Yep,
to eat.
we'll have broth and quesadillas and other
Mm-hmm.
hot items there.
Yeah.
So really take advantage of that. And Mike is exactly right. Like even though it's 14 miles and we're trying to make it seem like it's not a lot, you do need to still stay on the
Mm-hmm.
nutrition game. So once you leave Rattlesnake, you've got about a 2.5-ish mile section to Horseshoe Bar. So those aid stations are really, really close. So again, you can use
Yeah.
that as a kind of a metric, a marker for
Mm-hmm.
yourself. Like, yeah, I just got to Horseshoe Bar and now I've
Mm-hmm.
got 11-ish miles to go to the finish line. So that's a nice kind of mental
Mm-hmm.
surprise at that point
Yeah.
to get to Horseshoe Bar. So yeah, and so once we get to Horseshoe Bar, we're going to the rock garden.
Oh,
Oh
our
no.
favorite, everyone's
Mm-hmm.
favorite.
Yeah, but you're in the dark at this time, so you kind of just don't really like see anything, and so you really don't know if it's there or not
Yeah.
there. Like
Yeah.
again, 3 miles in the dark.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that bad. The meat grinder, you know, you get through it.
Yeah, it's only like a 2 mile section,
Yeah.
and so yeah, again, just keep moving during this section, and this is really a great time to again plot back to those 1 minute off, 1 minute on, 1 minute off kind of strategy, or
Mm-hmm.
have your pacer tell you their top 5 funny stories or what have you, and just kind of keep
Yeah.
rolling through this section, and you're gonna get through that very, very quickly.
I paced a friend at this section, and it was kind of just dawn, just early light, and it was just a really nice. It was the dawn was coming in, the sun comes up across the lake, and it's like from here on out, there's a really pretty time where it's just a sunrise, and it's like second sunrise. It's just a really, I'm getting the chills thinking about the feeling that I'm finishing on this day when the sun comes up. It just really is a cool feeling.
Yeah, yeah. So it
Yeah.
really embraced that. And
Mm-hmm.
once you get out of the rock garden, the meat grinder section here, then we're on our way to Granite Beach, the final aid station.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that feels really nice, right? Because you're like, that's it. You know, if you don't eat after that, probably no one cares.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you
can kind of let off the gas at that point if you want.
Yeah.
But the more you can fuel, the better you're going to perform and
yeah.
feel. But once you leave Granite Beach, get some Coke, get some Red Bull,
Mm-hmm.
just get some caffeine in your system, a quick dose of something, and just be on your way.
Yeah.
And, you've got 5 miles to the finish line from here. You've got some great running, like really smooth kind of trail, and a couple quick ascents, but smooth. Nothing technical in this last 5 mile section.
Yeah, and if you have anything left in the tank, it does feel really nice to be moving because it's a long way, and then you get 2 miles out, you can see Bill's Point from you still got another levee to go, and you can hear the bells, and you're like, there's still a ways to go. So if you have anything left, it's good to try to keep it going.
Yeah, once you're about 1.3 miles from the finish line, you're going to have 4 levees that you encounter. Each are about a quarter of a mile long, so you can kind of count that down and do some sprints across these levees and
that's what I would
make
do.
your way to the finish line. But one of the fun games I like to play, or if I'm pacing somebody, I like to play this game called Go Fish. And so I tell my runner, like, we're going to reel in, we're going to try to catch and reel in as many runners as we can. And of course, when we pass them, we're going to help them and give them some energy and applause too. But we're going to take some of that energy with us too. And so you'll be surprised that the next one that you've caught maybe 10 people since Horseshoe Bar in this last section going to the finish line, or in the last 5 miles of people just kind of walking it into the finish, which there's nothing wrong with. But if you've got anything to give it out.
Yeah, it feels nice to come on that last levee, and then you see the finish line, and you just got to go, and you got to make a left, and then drop
you got
down.
a nice downhill.
Yeah, and it feels good to run it through. So. Yeah, it's nice. Good
oh my
feeling.
gosh, I want to run it now.
I know. I feel like I got the
I'm
thinking about it.
Too,
yeah. So that's super. Yeah, and everyone will be there, and it's a good spot to hang out. Your family's there. We'll have a live stream booth there. We'll have, food and vendors, everything you want there, huh?
Yep, it'll be a breakfast in the morning with pancakes and eggs
Mm.
and bacon and coffee and donut truck and just
Ah.
lots of fun. And there's nothing like crossing the finish line, especially of your first 100, but
Mm-hmm.
just of your second or third or 10th or
Mm-hmm.
20th. Each finish line is so different, but yet so
Yeah.
rewarding. So
Oh
we're
yeah.
excited to see you all at the finish line.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
What a fun time. I mean,
Yeah.
all the different moments. I think one thing about the running is just like if you eat and drink as much as you can, everything else will be better. But also enjoy those moments. Enjoy those cross no hands and Goat Hill with people laughing because it's so ridiculous, or or the sunrise, and just like appreciate every minute because we're lucky to be doing here to be
Yeah.
doing this. We're lucky to be out there.
Yeah.
So that's what I think about.
I like
Yeah.
it. I like it.
Yeah.
Appreciate the suffering. I
Yeah.
mean, I
Hmm.
mean, you remember you chose to do this and sign up for this,
Yes.
but at the same time, really appreciate those moments. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what really truly builds character, and you'll find out what you are made of, and you're stronger than you think you are. Persevering through adversity and these tough times on the course. So,
And speaking of
yeah,
your finishing, you can't get to the finish without some sort of crew. Some people
right.
can go alone, but on your first one, your second one, your third one, we always have crew. So, what is this book about? Because
Yeah, Crewing for an Ultra Run, Start to Finish, by Sandra Bullock Smith. This book, whether you are a seasoned crew person or first time, get a copy of this. You can get this on Amazon. We put a link on our Instagram this evening on this book, but it has everything you need to know, and it's in a very digestible way. Sandra's crewed at Rio before for her husband, so she knows exactly what this race entails. But it gives you so many tips and tricks, things I didn't even think about 25 years later. So I learned a lot from the book. And grab a copy. It will really help you and serve you in any ultra that you are doing or crewing for.
One thing I like about this book is that having a crew, when I'm a runner, I worry about the people that I've asked to be there. I've asked them to be up all night, sleep in your car. And if you know that they're prepared, you will have a little more comfort knowing that, they got some resource, and they won't be out there just suffering like you're suffering. So it's a good way to kind of like maybe a good gift for your pacer, or just to read it.
Yeah. Sandra's got some really cool things in here for when your crew stands for cranky runner, endless wait, and some things so that you're not fantasizing that your runner took a tumble off of the canyon or whatnot. Just kind of some tips to keep that crew focused and ready to see their runner. So yeah, grab your copy of that.
Well, I'm excited. So that was cool. That was mile 44, Auburn Dam Overlook, American River Overlook, all the way around, way out to Cool, way out to the far side, back all the way to the finish. That was good.
I know.
Cool. So we're gonna have more Road to Rios. We're gonna talk to different people as we lead up to the race. Maybe interview some folks. I try to get more different angles of tips as we get closer.
Yeah. Cool. So stay tuned for our next Road to Rio video, and check out part 1 of the course if you haven't already.
Okay. Bye.
Good night.